Good morning. Just before 10 o'clock, we are coming on the air right now for a severe thunderstorm warning that's impacting parts of Estill, Montgomery, and Powell counties, but there is a tornado possible tag on it. The reason we're going to come on air right now is because of the simple fact that when the tornado warning it's over in Madison County, there is some pretty good rotation. Cameron Aaron is here with me this morning, so we're going to run you through all this. Cameron, let's zoom in on that cell and kind of take a look at what we're looking at there. Of course, with the severe thunderstorm warning that goes till a little bit after 10 this morning, so we're going to watch that for you in the next little bit. So you see anywhere where you see bowing like that, of course, you're going to be seeing that, and that's moving right toward Estill County. So Irvin, you're in the severe thunderstorm warning box rather. Stanton, you're in the severe thunderstorm warning box there. Cameron's actually going to put a track on it and let us know how fast it's moving and when it'll get to your area. So let's see what he's got here in just a second when he drops it on there. So this storm is moving at a pretty good clip. I know earlier some of these storms were moving about 60 miles per hour. So right now, if you're in Irvin, about 10:01 is when it's going to be in your area. So again, that's the time to kind of get to your safe spot, because even though this is a severe thunderstorm warning, it's January. This is unusual for severe weather, and that tornado warning just across the border into parts of Madison County there, I think he's going to zoom a little closer. Cameron, can you put some velocity on that for me so we can kind of see what's going on there? Okay, so right here, and it's very broad, that's at this point, is where your rotation would be. This is still in Madison County at this point. Cameron is circling it for us right there. But right there is kind of where, if there was, and there is no confirmation that there's a tornado on the ground, okay? Let me be real clear on that. But if there was a tornado, it would be somewhere in this area. And we talked about earlier this morning during the morning news, this is an area, this is the time of the year in an area that if you saw a tornado, it would be a very brief spin-up type situation. So it might be there one scan and gone the next. But this is the area we're watching, still in Madison County, but it is moving toward Estill County and eventually toward Powell County. So we're going to continue to watch this. What time does that warning expire? I forgot to look at it before you pulled the box off.
10:30. 10:30.
So a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag until 10:30 for parts of Estill and Powell counties. Montgomery is also included. But anywhere you see bowing like that right there, you know two things. It's going to be strong winds, regardless if you see the possibility of a tornado or not. And there's also the possibility for some big hail in this. I've seen some pretty good hail reports come from several other counties that have been under warnings this morning. So this is something we're going to have to really watch closely. And of course, it's January. It's January the 12th. So I mean, we really got to pay attention to these warnings when they're issued. So this is the first of what I suspect will be a line of storms that will impact us throughout the day. And we're going to be watching these very carefully. Cameron, you got anything you want to add real quick?
Nothing new from the National Weather Service, but we do have that severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag. I'll turn off the radar real quick so we can show kind of who's inside that warning. So Stanton and Irvin, you guys are included in that warning. The Mountain Parkway is included in that warning. So if you know anybody driving on the Mountain Parkway from Stanton up towards Winchester, be sure to give them a heads up that there is some strong weather heading their way, and maybe get off the road, let this thing pass by. Because like Brennan mentioned, if there is no tornado, there is some gusty winds with this bowing segment here. I'll draw this on here as it's coming into portions of Estill and Powell County. This part of the storm right here could produce some winds up to 50, possibly 60 miles per hour. So we are looking at some strong winds heading into portions of Estill and Powell counties.
So I did see a report earlier from some mesonet sats back out into parts of south central and western Kentucky of 50 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour wind gusts outside of storms. So that's a good indication when you see lines that are bowing like that, that you're going to see some very strong winds. So Irvin, it is now just crossing the Estill County line out of Madison County. You are not under tornado warning, but this is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag until 10:30. That includes you, Stanton and Powell County. So again, if you know anybody, like Cameron said, that it's traveling the Mountain Parkway this morning, heading west toward central Kentucky, toward Lexington, toward Winchester, toward Clark County, tell them pull over, get off the road, find a place to be that's safe. If you know anybody driving through Estill County, tell them, call them, tell them to get off the road and get somewhere safe. They have some time, but not a whole lot of time. This system moving very fast. Last I checked, it was probably moving about 60 miles per hour. We're still seeing some broad rotation, but it's very broad at this point as it comes out of Madison County. And so we're going to continue to watch this for a little bit. Cameron, take us to the watch, because this is something new we have not really talked about on air yet. Part of the region region was just included, actually the majority of the region, just the eastern counties not included right now, but till 4 o'clock this afternoon. I know it's got Boyd and Cabell and some of those, but everything inside of this polygon and all the ones that are colored, that's a severe thunderstorm watch until 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's the I-75 corridor, that's Lake Cumberland, this is up through the Kentucky River, I-64 corridor, northern Big Sandy. So you guys still have several hours to go before we're all said and done with this. And again, this will come in several waves today because there may be just enough of a break. Let's go back to radar wide picture there, Cameron, if you don't care, just to kind of show you the big picture. There may be a break out there. Look back out toward Bowling Green and west of I-65. Some more storms are trying to fire up out that way. So we may get just enough of a break where the atmosphere can kind of redevelop just a little bit through this afternoon. So this is going to be a system that we're going to be watching all morning. But as we go back into this warm cell right here, it's also moving toward, looks like, part of northern Jackson County as well. No warning on that one, but again, the warning we're on the air for right now is the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag in Estill County, and for our coverage area, Powell County as well. That's a pretty stout line of storms right there, Cameron.
Yeah, that kind of screams straight line winds to me. So not really the best tornado signature, but a tornado is still possible. A quick spin up cannot be ruled out. But as we just see, that tornado warning was canceled for portions of Madison County. So that's good news.
Right.
But the severe thunderstorm warning does continue for Estill and Powell County. And if there was a quick spin up, I would suggest it would be, let me draw this on here real quick, in this area right here, kind of where that kind of comma head feature is over portions just to the north and east of Richmond. And then this portion of the storm coming into Estill and Powell County looks more like a straight line wind threat. But still, overall, the storm could produce damage with winds up to 40, 50, possibly 60 miles per hour in some places. So if you're in portions of Estill and Powell County, be sure to just stay inside and let this storm kind of pass by before you head back outdoors.
Do we know how fast this storm is moving? If we can, go ahead and put a track
50.
on it. Okay, so put a track on that for us so we can give some times of locations. I know Irvin should be here in the next few minutes. Let's see Stanton, and if it goes beyond, gets expanded into Wolfe County, Menifee County. Let's see how far it goes out there. So basically, if you are in Irvin, it's on your doorstep right now, 9:59. So if you are in Clay City, that's in Powell County, 10:04. Stanton, 10:08. Over toward Campton, that's in Wolfe County, at 10:31. So you've still got some time. You are not included in the severe thunderstorm warning at this point. This is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it. We have not heard any confirmed touchdowns over Madison County, which just came out of a tornado warning. It was to the north of Richmond. We'll keep an eye on that to see if we have any reports on that. But again, this is January. This is not supposed to be severe weather time. And of course, in the next 24 hours, we have snow and a winter weather advisory for some of our border counties down toward the higher elevations there in the mountains. But again, anytime that you see a bowing out like this, and here is also the thing, damaging winds can be just as bad as a tornado, okay? Even though it doesn't have much rotation right now or a tornadic signature, damaging winds can cause a lot of damage, and I guarantee you.
We have a new tornado warning for Estill and Powell.
All right, there it is. So that's a new tornado warning, or?
Yeah, new tornado warning for Estill and Powell.
It's not even showing up on the radar. There it is. So right there. So basically, if you are in Stanton, you are now under new tornado warning. How long does that last?
Until, good question, 10:30.
10:30. New tornado warning for parts of northern Estill and Powell counties. This includes Clay City in Powell County. This includes Stanton in Powell County until 10:30. So you need to get into your safe spot right now. So let's go ahead.
I think the Weather Service kind of noticed what I noticed as well, that little comma head feature coming out just to the north and east of Richmond, and they kind of warned that northern half of the storm.
Exactly. Take me back to velocity for just a second. I wanted to look at something right there. This is off of Jackson's radar. That looks like a little bit of broad rotation right there, maybe back here just a smidge. I mean, we're not, it's really broad at this point. Yeah, I can kind of see right there that might be a possibility that there might be at least some rotation there. But again, tornado warning in effect for northern parts of Estill County and most of Powell County until 10:30. So we're going to stay with this here. I'm glad we come on the air for the severe thunderstorm warning because it's January, folks, and this is not something we expect to see in January. So we're going to continue to track this for you. Again, Stanton, you're in the polygon. Clay City, you're in the polygon. If you know somebody traveling the Mountain Parkway in Powell County, call them. Tell them to get off the road.
I wonder if this may be a little bit of debris, Brandon.
It's a possibility right there.
Because that kind of matches up with that velocity signature.
Yeah, exactly.
So we may have a
small spin-up tornado. So again, this is the time of the year that they're not going to be long track. We don't have the atmospheric instability or even the shear for the long track tornadoes. But again, right there, that's a good point. I'm glad you pulled that up. That might have been a quick spin up, but it's kind of between scans too.
Yeah, let's check the next scan and see how it looks. But that may be a quick spin up because that kind of correlates well with that velocity couplet.
So that's northern Estill County. I believe Palmer and Vienna are in Estill County. So, but right there, that's coming out of Madison County, coming into, is that Highway 89?
Yep.
Yep, Highway 89. If you're in that area, you may have had, this is not confirmed, but you may have had a brief spin-up tornado. This happened, I think, on New Year's Day back in 2021. We had a tornado in Estill County, I believe. But again, if you're in the Vienna community, get into your safe spot right now, just in case. If you're in the Palmer community, get into your safe spot right now. It's downstairs, under something sturdy. Take shelter. If you got a basement, get into a basement. On velocity, it's not good, but this is another area, Cameron, that basically doesn't have great radar coverage. He's circling right there, or we could see the possible quick spin-up tornado, but if you're in Trapp, if you're in Vienna, if you're down toward Kimbrell, you need to be in your safe spot right now. This is all west of Clay City over into Powell County. So again, right there, it's coming from Madison County into Estill County. This is northern Estill County. If you're along Highway 89 between Trapp, back down toward Palmer, you need to be in your safe spot right now.
Yeah, this storm has kind of been the kicker. It's kind of just kept going, kept going, kept going. We've been tracking this storm back into portions of central Kentucky. So this storm's kind of been it won't go away, basically, for lack of better words, and it sticks around into portions of eastern Kentucky right now. But we're not expecting those long track tornadoes today. The tornado threat's actually kind of low, but those quick spin up tornadoes are possible today with this kind of high wind shear environment that we have.
Right.
So please be sure that you just stay weather aware today, because we could see more of these possible quick spin up tornadoes. That's not, that's can't be ruled out. So if you're in portions of northern Estill and Powell counties, be sure that you go to your safe place immediately. If you're in Stanton, if you're in Clay City, be sure to be in your safe place. That's the lowest floor of your home, near the center. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and you want to be in a room with no windows. So be sure that you are not in a mobile home and you are not in a car. So if you're driving from Stanton to Winchester on the Mountain Parkway, be sure to pull off at the next exit, a gas station, a restaurant, anything like that. You do not want to be in a car, because we may have had a quick little spin up tornado, because you see there, Brandon,
it's already
gone.
Yeah, on the next scan, it's already gone. It was right here earlier, kind of in this area. Right there is where it was.
I think we had a spin up.
It looked, or at least it was pretty close.
Yeah.
So right there could have been a brief touchdown, not confirmed by any means.
No.
We're not saying that there was a tornado, but if there was, it was right there in that area, because that's the debris signature showing the brighter colors there. But this is just outside. This probably would have been in Madison County, actually, right before you cross over into Estill County. But right there's the county line. Again, tornado warning until 10:30 for parts of northern Estill and parts of Powell County, Clay City, Stanton, you're included in that. The Mountain Parkway through Powell County included in that. So get off the road, like Cameron said, the next exit. And even toward Irvin right now, you're not under the tornado warning itself, but you're under a severe thunderstorm warning in Ravenna as well, with a tornado possible tag on it. We're going to track that out for you to give you some timings on this one, moving east at a pretty good clip, right?
50
miles per hour. So Stanton, it's right on top of you basically there. Standing Rock at 10:18, Zoe at 10:22, Campton over in Wolfe County, Hazel Green, just about 10:30 for both of those there, a little after 10:30 for Hazel Green. If it holds together, West Liberty 10:45, giving you a heads up that we could see that come towards your way. And again, no confirmed tornado with this cell, but we have been watching this, and it's had some pretty good markers there rotation-wise. We had a little bit of a debris signature over in the parts of Madison County earlier, so we're watching this one very carefully.
Yeah, if you're in Irvin, you're not under a tornado warning, but you're looking at some very strong winds coming into portions of downtown Irvin right now. And if you're in Stanton, you are in that tornado warning. I will say, though, the kind of comma head feature that we were watching has kind of fallen apart over the last few scans, which is good news, but this is not a part of the tornado warning, but just to the north of Irvin, we could have possibly a little bit more of broad rotation. So just be aware that we could see these quick spin-up tornadoes throughout this entire line today. So that's why you need to have that First Alert weather app, and you need to stay weather aware, because some of the tornado warnings could be quick notice. We couldn't really give a good lead time on those because they're so quick to spin up.
Exactly. So that's something that you really need to be cognizant of today. You need to be staying weather aware. You need to have that app handy all the time because it will push out those warnings instantly once they come out for you. So we're going to continue watching that. Cameron, did something update with that severe thunderstorm warning? Because I saw the box flashing just a minute ago. Did it extend the time
Nothing
or something?
from Jackson that I see.
Okay. I was trying to see if there was anything. No damage reports, no confirmed tornadoes.
Nothing as of right now, no.
Okay, so the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag is for parts of basically Stanton is included in the tornado warning that goes until 10:30, and the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible warning that also goes until 10:30, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Stanton is included in both of those, but Irvin, Ravenna, places in Estill County, you're just under the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible until 10:30. But Clay City, Stanton, there's a little bit of very broad rotation there along the Estill-Powell County line. It's not great. Go ahead, or actually go ahead. What were you going to say?
I would imagine they're going to let that tornado warning go pretty soon, but
I see why they issued it in the first place because, like you said, that comma head, and then we saw the brief debris signature there in Madison County coming into Estill County there. Not sure if it made it into Estill County, but again, if you're in Stanton, if you're in Clay City, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. That's downstairs, under something, putting as much between you and the outside as possible. Basement, if you have it. Mobile homes, no good. Try to find a space that is a little bit more sturdy out there so you can track that. And again, anywhere along this line, basically north of Stanton, all the way down 89 into Estill County, through the Mountain Parkway, anywhere where you see this bowing segment, that's going to be some very, very strong winds. And even if you didn't have a tornado, and we have no confirmed reports of that, straight line winds just as damaging. So there you go. All right. Anything new from the Weather Service?
They're continuing the warning until 10:30, so about 25 more minutes or so on that severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado warning for portions of Estill and Powell. And again, the velocity signature has weakened over the past few minutes, so that's good news. But still, take that storm seriously. If you're in Clay City, if you're in Stanton, be sure that you are in your safe place. That's the lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. You want to make sure you have as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and you do not want to be driving on the Mountain Parkway.
No.
So if you know anybody on the Mountain Parkway in Powell County, be sure that they are off the road because you just don't want to be driving in the tornado-warned storm.
And that's coming out of Wolfe County, too. So if you're in between Stanton and Clay City on the Mountain Parkway, that's not a good situation to be in, too. So get off of the road as fast as you can and as safely as you can. Of course, if you're coming out of Wolfe County there on the Mountain Parkway, pull over. Don't take a chance. We'll see if they let this continue into Wolfe County there. It's basically in central parts of Powell County right now, at least a tornado warning part. I think that'll either switch over to a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on it, or they'll just switch it over to a regular severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to stay on the air with both of these until they expire or get changed over at 10:30. We'll see where this leads. But I can tell you right now, even if you have not had a tornado anywhere between basically Stanton, Irvin, all the way back down into parts of southern Estill County, even into northern Jackson County, anywhere you see those bowing segments, and that's something we need to watch over toward Mount Vernon, Cameron.
Yeah, I was taking a look at that as well.
Yeah, so they're right there near the Broadhead area, maybe just some wide road, but anywhere you see notches like that, we need to keep an eye on those.
Let's do kind of a track on this entire segment. So let's see, we're going to put this for about 50 miles per hour for the entire segment. This is going off towards the east. Let's see.
So we can give you some timings for your areas.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So Mount Vernon about 10:10, so you got about less than 5 minutes if you're in Mount Vernon.
You're not under a warning right now, though.
But some heavy rain, some gusty winds are likely as that storm rolls through. If you're in Beattyville, also not under a warning, but again, in about 10:23 around that time, we will see that strong storm start to come through. In Breathitt County, if it holds together, Jackson just before 11 o'clock. So be sure to keep an eye on this because we could see possibly more severe thunderstorm warnings. I would not be shocked to see that as this line of storms pushes off towards the east.
So far, we have no confirmed tornadoes, and we have only 2 warnings. We have the severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible.
New severe thunderstorm warning for Lee, Menifee, Morgan, and Wolfe counties.
Okay, so is that tornado possible? Or
it
just
is.
Okay,
yes.
So we're going to stay with that one. How long does that go to?
10:30.
So this comes out till 10:30 as well. That includes the city of, the community of Hazel Green, Malaga, if I'm saying that right, down there in southern Wolfe County. So we're continuing to watch all these, and it's clipping the northern section of Lee County up there, basically right there where the Lee County line meets parts of Estill, Powell, and Wolfe counties. And
yeah, so this does include Campton.
Yeah.
It does not include West Liberty. So if you're in West Liberty, you are not included in this warning.
Yeah.
But it does not also
That's
include
further east,
Frenchburg.
too.
So
yeah, and Frenchburg and Menifee County is a little bit north of this warning. So again, watching it, it looks like the heaviest bands of rain and possibly wind are over Irvin right now, heading into eastern Estill County. Actually, matter of fact, Irvin might be coming out of some of the worst of it there, but you'll see Stanton is in it right now along the Mountain Parkway. So this is heading toward parts of southern Menifee County, most of Wolfe County through 10:30, which is kind of strange to me because, well, I guess it's moving pretty fast. So there you go. So we'll see if they extend that, and then the very northern parts of Lee County. So again, this is a tornado possible tag. We also, did the tornado warning expire?
it's still there.
Okay, still there for parts of Powell County and northern Estill County also until 10:30. So all these warnings right now expire at 10:30 for the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
And some pretty strong winds coming through Irvin right now. So if you're in Irvin, you're
right
not dealing with a tornado, but you are dealing with some very strong straight line winds.
Yeah.
But again, those are just as dangerous. So if you do not want to be outside, and really you don't want to be near windows as this line of storms is pushing through, because some very gusty winds are likely. And like Brandon just pointed out, maybe some broad rotation near the Estill-Powell County line. So we'll keep an eye on any kinks in those lines and any kind of spin up tornadoes that are possible in those lines as well.
Now, we've had no confirmation, any of these storms today, that there have been any tornadoes, but this is the situation we're in today. This is why they expanded the severe thunderstorm watch to cover most of the region until 4 o'clock this afternoon, because this is not the only line of storms we're going to get today. We have another one that's potentially developing back out into south central Kentucky, so more of these are possible. But again, the big threat is straight line winds. We cannot rule out an isolated brief spin up tornado. Based on the scans, we were looking at the debris signature there. Maybe, we're not confirming anything, but maybe in eastern Madison County might have had a brief spin up. But this is the time of the year you really have to watch for damaging winds. And as Cameron just said, straight line winds can be just as damaging as a tornado. But this is an unusual event because it's January. You don't expect to see severe weather in January like this, Cameron.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to keep an eye on this as it pushes through portions of Estill, Powell, portions of Wolfe County as well. So Wolfe County, heads up, you're next. This storm is pushing through your neck of the woods. Let's do another track on this real quick. Let's see.
While you're doing that, Evan is on his way in. He said the sun is out here in Perry County, so that's not a good sign.
That's not great.
Yeah, so we need to keep an eye on that as well.
The tornado warning has been canceled for Estill.
Okay, so
good
Powell
news.
County is still in it, but Estill County is out. All right, some new times there, Cameron.
Yeah, so we got Campton just before 10:30, so you got about 20 more minutes, probably a little bit less than that if you're in Campton before this line of storms pushes through. West Liberty, you're not in the warning, but still, if this storm holds together, about 10:50, so just a heads up, about 40 more minutes. But don't wait until the last minute to kind of get inside. Be sure that you're already inside and you're tracking the storm with us on that First Alert Weather app. And if you're in Wheelersburg, you got just after 11 o'clock when the storm starts to push through.
Okay, so there you go. That's the latest timings there. Of course, the warning situation, we still have the tornado warning for parts of Powell County until 11:30. That includes Clay City and Stanton. Maybe just a little bit of broad rotation. It's nothing real tight there. When you see the greens and the reds, it's going toward and away from the radar, kind of giving us an idea of where velocity and where the spin in the atmosphere may be located right now. Don't see a whole lot of that, so that's some good news. Again, no debris signature that we're seeing. Ralph, go back to the debris for just a second. What was that right there? What was that?
I think that may be a little bit of clutter, but we'll
maybe?
check and see.
Yeah, so we'll look.
Yeah, it doesn't really line up with anything.
It's very broad with that, but we'll keep an eye on that one. That one's over in I think that's Estill County right there along the just north of Irvin and Ravenna up that way. Is that 813?
213.
213.
Yes.
So 213 there. Listen, I wear these for a reason, folks. I'm sorry about that. But 213 there, if you're on Highway 213 between Stanton and back into Estill County, maybe you need to keep an eye on that cell right there. But anywhere along the leading edge of this, straight line winds a definite possibility with that bowing out there. And that continues all the way down into even central Kentucky. Go back toward Mount Vernon, Rockcastle County.
Most we can pull up that I-75 camera, see if we can take a look
at Mount Vernon,
what
especially.
It looks like.
We could be looking right into it. So
Nothing yet.
We're looking in the opposite direction. I think that's looking southbound, so we need to look northbound. I think that camera's been offline for a little bit, so we'll see if it gets down that way here in just a minute. But again, we're looking at a line of storms that's going to continue. Let's go back to the severe thunderstorm watch box for just a second, kind of give an update on that, because this goes until 4 o'clock this afternoon for everybody that's in the yellow. So this is parts of West Virginia, down to the upper Big Sandy, down to the upper Kentucky River. Perry County not included, Leslie County not included, Floyd, Pike, Martin not included, but Johnson is, and Lawrence County, and then everybody back towards Southwest Virginia. Harlan County not included, Bell County not included, but if I didn't name your counties off, Mingo and Logan counties not included, all of Southwest Virginia, there's the risk. So again, is that a new update, or is this just the one we had earlier I think it's the one we had earlier this morning. But again, I think the newest update comes out at 12:30, but you see anywhere in the yellow, anywhere on this that's got a color on it at all, the marginal risk is a level 1, the slight risk is a level 2, but it does not matter in a situation like this. This is always going to be a wind-based event. I've seen reports of hail out of central Kentucky, so there's a multifaceted system that is going to impact us today. And then the cold front comes through tonight, and we're looking at snow on the other side of this. Thankfully, not a whole lot unless you're in the higher elevations, and we'll talk more about that probably later today, because we're going to be focusing on the severe weather coverage at this point. So that's what we got so far. Let's go back to radar for just a second and see what's going on there, and kind of give me the wide view. That tornado warning, what is that? That's still for Powell. That's the one we've got there for Powell till 10:30. Then we've got the tornado possible tags still for Estill, Lee, Powell, and Wolf until 10:30, and the one also down to the south there for parts of Estill again until 10:30. So we're watching all this and keeping you posted. But again, continuing coverage this morning, as again, the main threat from these cells, still a possible tornado. That's why they have that wording in the warning. But I do think at this point, these are wind threats.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So that's all the way down. Basically, you start Menifee County all the way down toward northern Jackson County, 421 if you're traveling between McKee back over into Rockcastle County or even Madison County, and then down toward Mount Vernon to the north of I-75. So if you know somebody on 75 from basically, let's call it Mount Vernon to Berea, maybe tell them to pull over for a little bit if they haven't already. If you know somebody traveling 460 back toward Powell County from Menifee County, maybe tell them to pull over. If you're traveling the Mountain Parkway out of Wolf County, pull over there, because anywhere you see this bowing, that is a lot of strong wind coming through there this morning. Cameron?
Yep, no new updates from the National Weather Service, so that tornado warning does continue until 10:30 for portions of Powell County. So if you're in Stanton, you are still in that tornado warning. So be sure that you're still in your safe place. I will be honest, not a well-defined.
What about right here? Right there. You see that?
Let's kind of zoom into that.
It's not, it's broad, but it's a little bit there.
Yeah,
but
so if you're in Stanton, just be sure that you are in your safe place, just to kind of, you know.
You want to circle what we're talking about right there real quick? That way we can. So basically,
right over Stanton.
Yeah, right here, kind of right just over Stanton, close to Stanton, south of Stanton there. So if you're on 213 or the Mountain Parkway near Stanton, pull over, get off the road right now if you're still on the road. Hopefully you're not, but you need to be in a safe spot, of course, if you're in that area right now. So we're keeping an eye on that. We don't expect that to be extended, but it all depends on if the Weather Service continues to see the rotation.
We also have a camera here in Slade.
Oh yeah, I can pull that one up.
Maybe see if we can see anything from that.
Wow,
it's sunny.
Sunny up there, so that's not a good
great.
sign.
Almost 60 degrees in January. That's also not great.
But you can probably, I think this looks back over toward Powell County. I think this is on the Wolf-Powell County line. So right there, just past Campton, and you can see those ominous-looking clouds in the distance.
Let's kind of see. I'm trying to find it in your rundown, Brandon. Let's see. Let's check the temperature and the dew point. Let's see how far north that warm front's made it. So most of us in the 60s right now, low 60s for most of us, and dew points, they are in the middle to lower 50s for most of us. So that is kind of primed for severe weather in early January. That's why we are looking at the possibility of a few stronger storms today. So if you are outside, you kind of feel it in the air. It does kind of feel sticky and muggy, and that is why we have that threat for severe weather today. And we have that tornado warning that continues for about 13 more minutes or so for portions of Powell County. That does include portions of Stanton. So if you're in Stanton, be sure to be in your safe place immediately.
Okay, so no new updates, it looks like, from the Weather Service so far. We can tell you this. Here's the list of warnings on your screen right now, like Cameron mentioned. Powell County, including Stanton, until 10:30. Tornado possible, severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30 for parts of Estill, Lee, Powell, and Wolfe counties. And then for parts of Estill and Powell counties also until 10:30 there. We are waiting to see if the Weather Service wants to extend this out. It is going to be a wind-based event, and we're still hours away from this being over. All the counties you see, at least in eastern Kentucky, southern Kentucky, and parts of West Virginia in the yellow, that goes until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we are not anywhere close to being done with this system. And if we go back to the state view on the radar, zoom a little bit more to the left there, back out toward Bowling Green, and you can see another line of storms trying to develop out there this morning. I don't think I see any warnings on those.
No, nothing yet. That's good news. We do have warnings in the portions of Alabama still. But
yeah, there's a lot of activity down south, and they're under that enhanced risk, the 3 out of 5 down in the mid-south and the deep south down that way this morning. Major cities we talked about earlier, Atlanta, Birmingham, Huntsville's under a tornado watch, Montgomery under tornado watch and in the enhanced risk. But here at home, we are more concerned about basically the wind threat. So we're going to continue to track this out. So if you're in Canton, you got about a little more than 10 minutes to get in your safe spot, just in case that warning is extended. Again, damaging winds can be just as dangerous as a tornado. Hazel Green 1040, Grassy Creek 1045, West Liberty. You are not in a warning at this point, but if it gets to you, it'll be there at 1051, and then over toward Oil Springs in Johnson County, if it holds together, about 1115.
Yep, so we are still looking at that severe thunderstorm warning until 10:30, so about 10 more minutes. I do have a feeling they might extend that out towards the east because of just how this Boeing segment looks here, and that velocity still indicates we could see some damaging gusty winds, straight line winds, but again, those can be just as damaging as those spin-up tornadoes. That tornado warning does continue for portions of Powell County until 10:30 this morning. So if you're in Stanton, if you are driving along the Mountain Parkway up towards Clay City, you need to be in your safe place immediately, and they just canceled the tornado warning, so that's good news.
That's some good news, but we still have the 2 severe thunderstorm warnings.
So that's off the board.
Yeah, with tornado possible tags on them. And I'm like Cameron, I would not be surprised to see that extended. West Liberty giving you an early heads up over in Morgan County, and then over toward Canal City and those areas along 460 going back up into West Liberty, and then eventually up to 519 toward Moorhead. But again, if we just follow this polygon here, I think we'll see that go all the way through the northern parts of the area. It may end up in northern Johnson County there at some point. But again, anywhere along this Boeing segment, you can expect to see straight line damaging winds at least, and then we could see again some brief rotation that could cause a spin-up tornado. That's why they have the tornado possible tagline on this warning, and the other one down into parts of Estill and down into Powell counties.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Jackson or Rockcastle County either. So if you're in those 2 counties, you're not under a warning, but you could also see some pretty gusty winds and some heavy rain as that southern end of the line starts to come through. So just a heads up in McKee, nothing right now, but just a heads up, that storm is coming in from the north and west, and that will continue pushing off towards the east. So portions of northern Jackson County and then northern Rockcastle County from I-75 back to the east. Just a heads up, some strong gusty winds are possible. Nothing severe, and remember, to be severe, it has to be 58 miles per hour or greater, or 1-inch diameter hail or larger. So there is criteria for it to be severe, and we only have 1 storm for the moment that reaches that criteria, and that is for portions of Wolfe County, Menifee County, Morgan County, into extreme northern Owsley County. I think that's Owsley County, right?
Let me look and see.
Let's see. Lee County. Lee County. Excuse me. And then portions of Estill and Powell County as well.
Yeah, exactly. So again, if you're along this Boeing segment, there could be some brief, broad rotation, but the wind is the main threat from this one. So this is why they're going to keep this warning going until 10:30, which is about 8 minutes away at this point. So we're going to stay with this for a little while longer and keep you posted. But I believe this will get extended. So if it gets extended, we'll stay on it, because usually we don't come on the air for severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possible. Sometimes we do if there's been damage tracked already. Of course, we had that potential, I'm going to stress that again, tornado over in the parts of Madison County. We had a debris signature briefly between scans right there outside of Estill County and Madison County, so it could have been a brief touchdown. possibly probably in a rural area, so we probably won't know about that until some crews can get out there to kind of take a look at that. But these situations like this, but it's January. That's what I was getting at. This is not a typical severe weather season for us here in the mountains. So when you have strong storms like this rolling through, a severe thunderstorm watch that goes till 4 o'clock for most of the region. So again, this is something that's very uncommon this time of the year. This is why we're on the air and making sure that you're staying safe and weather aware.
Yep, no new updates from the National Weather Service. That's good news, but that tornado warning was canceled, so that's also some good news. But that severe thunderstorm warning does continue, and that will last until 10:30, so about 7 more minutes. But like Brandon and I were talking about, we do think that will probably be extended back to the east because this storm is probably producing some strong gusty winds, and that will be coming into portions of Wolfe County here soon. So Campton, just a heads up, if you are on the Mountain Parkway from Campton over towards Slade, this is a strong thunderstorm capable of producing winds up to 60 miles per hour, and that can cause damage. So if you are in a mobile home, that can cause just as much damage as a small tornado. So just kind of take those severe weather tips very seriously and put yourself in a small room between no windows, and put enough walls between you and the outside as possible, and kind of put a helmet on as well if you had that, because this could produce some strong gusty winds, and we could see possibly some trees blown down with those winds as well.
Exactly. So I was just checking my phone for if there's any new updates on social media. I know there's not any from the Weather Service, damage reports or anything like that. And again, it's probably going to take a little while for folks to get out there and try to figure out what the situation is. But we're going to continue to watch this. Nothing on Facebook so far. So I think so far it's early to see if we've seen any damage. But of course, we have these severe thunderstorm warnings with tornado possible tags on them for a few more minutes until 10:30 for parts of several different counties right there in kind of the northeastern part of our area. So let's go back over here for a second. I'm going to put this here in my pocket for a second, but again, I had my cell phone in my hand. But anyway, if you're along any of these areas that are bowing out, so just north of London in Rockcastle County, over through Jackson County, over into Estill and Powell counties, Lee County, Wolfe County, a lot of folks now going out toward West Liberty. Irvin, you're basically just in the heavy rain sector at this point. I think most of the worst of it is past you, but if you're along these lines, and now those notches, most of the time there you see when we go back to reflectivity, and we're checking the velocity real quick to see if we see any broad rotation, but the notches you see are usually a pretty good indication that there could be some stronger winds along this line. We call this a squall line. Again, it's basically anywhere along this, you could see some stronger winds with that. So we're going to continue to watch that for a few more minutes there until about 10:30. So severe thunderstorm warning, tornado possible tag.
We have a new severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag.
All right,
for
so
Breathitt, Lee, and Wolfe.
Okay, so they pushed that just a little bit further south now. So that goes into northern parts of Breathitt County. That is north of the city of Jackson. When does that expire?
That goes until 10:45.
All right, 10:45. That looks like basically right here. It's kind of encompassed. They're kind of right on top of each other. So if you are in northern Lee County, if you're in northern Breathitt County, north of the city of Jackson, if you are in southern Wolfe County, is that part of that too?
Yes.
Okay, all this is a new severe thunderstorm warning.
So basically all of Wolfe County now to be.
You're now on Wolfe County, you were under a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag all the way through at least 10:30 or 10:45 this morning. And again, straight line winds are just as bad as a tornado in this situation. So again, anywhere along this segment, not even just there, but all the way down toward Mount Vernon and Rockcastle County through parts of northern Jackson County, anywhere you saw that bowing, a little bit of broad rotation, kind of just to the east of Stanton, all the way down into parts of Wolfe County, but nothing substantial standing out to me there, Cameron.
Yeah, same here. Nothing too defined there, but we will have to watch out for that leading edge of that line because we could see some more of those quick spin up tornadoes. Those are possible. The threat's not huge, but we could still see a few of those possibly spinning up along the leading edge of that line.
That's right. So we're watching this line very carefully. Of course, the newest warning goes until 10:45. We will try to stay with that. Typically, we would not come on the air unless there was confirmed damage for just a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado warning or a tornado possible tag. But it's January. Very unusual situation. There was a possibility of a brief touchdown. We do not have confirmation of that from the Weather Service, either Louisville or Jackson, because Louisville covers Madison County and then Jackson covers once you get into Powell and Estill counties. But we did see a brief signature between scans of possible debris in eastern Madison County right before it crossed the line into Estill County. So we are again waiting to see if we can get some confirmation on that. That is not confirmed. Again, not confirmed. But we did have that tornado warning there for parts of Powell County that was allowed to expire a little earlier. It included parts of Estill County for a little bit. And then we had that one over into parts of Clark and Madison counties there for a little bit as well. All those have been allowed to expire, but we're still watching this here. Times, Campton, 10:31. So you've got just a couple of minutes there before that moves past you. We've also got West Liberty at 10:47. Salyersville over Magoffin County, no warning at this point, but you got until 11:08 or approximately to get in your safe spot. Oil Springs over in Johnson County, 11:14 in Paintsville. If this thing holds together, which we expect it will because it's going into a very favorable environment to keep the development going at 11:24. Evan Hatter now joining us in the studio. So the whole team here this morning. Evan, are you mic'd up? You got any thoughts you want to add here?
Yes, I believe my microphone is on, and this is actually, just looking at the trend this morning, it's actually trending a little further north than some of the radar or some of the models were indicating last night. Models were indicating, excuse me, that portions of the Cumberland Valley would have the greatest chance of seeing severe weather early in this event, and now we're already starting to see it in parts of the northern Kentucky River Valley. And if I had to guess, perhaps some of the strongest area, at least with the heaviest precipitation, is about to cross into portions of northern Jackson County, and that'll be pushing, it's in southern parts of Estill County now, and that'll be pushing into Lee County, Kentucky within the next little bit. But obviously watching the leading edge of these storms as well in the portions of Menifee, Wolf, and Lee counties with the potential there for 60-mile-per-hour winds and a brief tornado spin-up.
Brandon, this is not in our coverage area, but we do have reports from the National Weather Service in Louisville of damage to a school in Breckinridge County.
Okay, so that's out back toward the Louisville area, but it's back out there closer to them. But
this is that same complex of storms that's rolling through the region.
And that's the reason we're still on for these, is because the simple fact, if we know that there has been damage, we suspected that there could have been a brief touchdown there over in Madison County. So this whole system has a history of creating damage out to the west. I've been watching this all morning coming out of South Central Kentucky, the Bowling Green area, across through Louisville. And again, there were tornado warnings for a long time. As they approach central Kentucky. Even Lexington was under a tornado warning at one point earlier this morning. But we know this system has had a history of producing damage just based on the report Cameron just read us from the National Weather Service office at Louisville over in Breckinridge County. Don't know if it was a tornado or not. Didn't say, did it?
No.
Okay, so it could have been straight line winds. And in a situation like this, that could be just as dangerous as a tornado. They often get overlooked. They're like, oh, straight line winds, it's no big deal. Yeah, it is a big deal because it can do just as much damage as a tornado. Don't forget now, we're not done by any means. Areas basically from West Virginia, northeastern Kentucky, all the way down through the Kentucky River, Cumberland Valley, Lake Cumberland, I-75 corridor under that severe thunderstorm watch until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we've got a long way to go before we can call this system done. And then real quick, well, we'll start with this first, and then we'll go to our updated map for tomorrow because we're not done with this system. We've got more to go with this one. Slight risk 2 out of 5 rather, for the counties down to the south, back toward I-75, parts of the Cumberland Valley. And like Evan was saying earlier, we kind of expected the Cumberland Valley by modeling last night to get this first. So we are continuing to watch all of these areas, but even areas now that have severe thunderstorm warnings with the tornado possible tags are coming through. We're in the marginal risk. This is why anytime there's a risk this time of the year, you want to be very careful. And this morning, in our chat that we have with the weather team, I told them, I said, I bet you $20 that the Weather Service pulled this trigger, and they did this morning. So tomorrow morning, starting at 4 a.m., we have a winter weather advisory for parts of Bell County, Harlan County, Letcher County, Pike County in Kentucky, Lee, Wise, Dickinson, and Buchanan counties in Virginia, and Mingo and Logan counties in West Virginia. So this system going to dump some decent snow in the higher elevations. Let me stress that there for you. So this is a two-pronged system, as we've been talking about all morning. Cameron, go ahead and pull up our updated call for snow. Now, we did bump it this morning 2 to 4 inches with some locally higher amounts. Models were trying to show up to 6 inches in spots, so that's why that plus is on there. But that is above 2,000 feet. Those are the areas that the winter weather advisory is for. I got asked a question earlier on Facebook, do we expect that to be extended? No, we don't, because basically you see the rest of us flakes up to an inch.
We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Magoffin, Menifee, Morgan, and Wolf until 11 o'clock.
Let's go back to that, please. Is that a tornado possible tag?
I don't believe so.
No.
That's just a regular severe thunderstorm.
Yes.
Okay. So let me step over here and we'll kind of get a look at that. But that goes until 11.
Yes.
Let's get a little closer look at that.
That's for the northern half of that storm.
Okay. So that, has it popped on yet?
Yeah, it's the one that's blinking right there. It's kind of hard to see. I'll turn off the radar.
Oh, I
It's
see
that
it.
northern
Yep.
half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that includes West Liberty, but this is just a severe thunderstorm warning. This does not have the tornado possible tag on it. But still, strong winds, straight line winds, like we've said all morning, can cause just as much damage as a tornado. So again, we're going to continue to watch that till 11, you said?
Yes.
Till 11 o'clock for parts of Morgan County, parts of Magoffin County. Who else is included in this?
Morgan, Magoffin, Menifee, and Wolf.
Menifee and Wolf. So basically it kind of overlaps. We're seeing a lot of these warnings overlap there because it's coming from this same complex of storms. So their weather service confident enough that there could be some strong winds, but not confident enough to keep the tornado tag possible on it once it gets past this area. So that's some good news. And then one we're watching continues until 10:45. So we'll continue to watch that. Evan, what you got?
Oh, I was about to talk to you about that little. If you can go back to velocity there, Cameron, just west of Campton.
Right here?
I'm watching that area right along 15, just west of Campton.
Right here's what he's talking about.
Of perhaps some broad rotation where you can get one of those kinks in that line.
Yep.
I was looking at it on radar scope over here, and it kind of lines up with a little kink in the radar and the reflectivity.
I see that now that
So
you're
I want to keep an eye on that as that heads toward downtown Campton.
Exactly. So we're watching that. So Campton, be in your safe spot just in case. You never know. We could see a brief spin up like we saw earlier over in eastern Madison County, potentially. We have had no confirmed reports of tornadoes today. Damage over toward Breckenridge County, back toward Louisville. So this storm system has a history of creating damage. But Campton, you need to be in your safe spot just in case, downstairs, under something sturdy, in a basement if you have one. And again, put as much between you and the outside as possible. And if you're in a mobile home, it's a no-go. Get out of there, okay? Find you somewhere else safe to be. Some weak shear with that system?
It has, yes, that looks to be the case. It has broadened out a little bit in the latest scan, so I just noticed it and said, I want to keep an eye on
absolutely.
that.
Call anything you see, call it out, because we want to make sure that we highlight that to keep people safe.
Yeah.
That's why we're on here for.
Looks
so
like the severe thunderstorm warning for Estill, Lee, Menifee, Morgan, Powell, Wolf was expired. So that was that first one.
right, the one that was
But the
out
second
earlier.
one, so the second one's still in effect, but the first one is gone.
Okay, so that's some good news there for our neighbors back out toward Powell County, back out toward Estill County. Basically, these new warnings go through most of Wolf County, probably the very eastern section. Turn the radar off just one more second there, Cameron, just to make sure that, So Estill County, it looks like you're completely out of the warnings. Estill and Powell County is completely out. So now we're talking about northern Lee County, we're talking about northern Breathitt County, Wolf County, parts of Morgan County, and maybe the northwestern tip of Magoffin County.
Yeah, a small sliver and a small sliver of southern Menifee County as well.
Yeah, so basically we're focused now, I guess, as these storms continue to move. If you're on the Mountain Parkway in Wolf County, or the Mountain Parkway in Morgan County, or if you're on 460 going between Salyersville and West Liberty. These are the areas that you need to kind of be weather aware, keeping an eye on this situation. The one severe thunderstorm warning goes until
I think both go to 11.
Okay, so they both go to 11 now. So one of them, though, the one for Morgan County, we're just going to stay with the one for the Campton area there that still has that tornado possible tag unless they take that off. If they take that off, we'll go back to regular programming. But right now, we're going to stay on the air with that one because this storm system has had a history of causing damage back out in the western parts of the state.
Like you were saying, Brandon, I was just looking in the Louisville Weather Service chat. They've got reports of damage west of Bowling Green with that second line already working in. There was some damage there. Like Cameron was talking about in Breckenridge County, that's west of Louisville there, west of Elizabethtown there near Hardinsburg, Kentucky. There was a report of damage in Mercer County. That is southwest of Lexington there, north of Danville in central Kentucky, and thunderstorm wind damage in Henry County. That is northeast of Louisville, northwest of Frankfort. So this line of storms has already caused damage this morning, and that's why we're paying special attention to places like Hazel Green as that line moves in.
All right, so we're looking again there, just a little bit of broad rotation just to the north of Campton. Take me back over to velocity for just a second, Cameron, and we'll look right here, just kind of right here.
Yep, be
It's
right
very
on top
broad.
of Campton.
Yeah, so it's just to the north of Campton there, and actually right here near the just to the northeast of Campton, a little bit of broad rotation too. So we're looking at that down toward Vortex. See just a little bit of broad rotation down that way. Nothing overly concerning. Put the just to check, put the debris signature on there. See if there's anything. No, it's very muddy up that way.
Yeah, a little too close to the radar, it looks like.
So there you go. But again, if you're in those areas there, just make sure you're in your safe spot. Make sure that you're paying very close attention to this storm, because even if you're not seeing much rotation indicating the possibility of a tornado, very strong winds associated with this. As Evan was saying, as Cameron was saying, we've already had reports of damage out into western Kentucky, so we're not done with this by any means. So I'm going to step back. Evan, if you want to read those times there, the estimated arrival times for those areas for us.
So as this storm continues to push to the east, we're talking places like Grassy Creek there in Morgan County within the next 5 minutes or so, West Liberty within the next 10, Candle City by 10:50, that's kind of in southern Morgan County, Wani over there into about 10:58, Salyersville, if it holds together, into portions of northern Magoffin County by 11:07, Flat Gap, which is in northern Johnson County, by 11:13, Oil Springs by 11:14, Paintsville by 11:24, Royalton there in the central portions of Magoffin County by 11:28, and Clifford as we head towards 11:37 with this line of storms continuing to push through the region.
So before you take that off, don't mean to interrupt you, but two cities very close together here in Magoffin County, Salyersville and Royalton, but you see 11:07 potentially for Salyersville and almost 11:30 for Royalton. They're right next to each other, but you got to look at the shape of the line that's approaching. So Royalton will get it a little bit later, even though they're just southeast or just south and east there of Salyersville, because look at the way the line is shaped over that way. So it's going to take longer to get to them. I wanted to point that out real quick. Didn't mean to cut you off there, Evan, but again, that's just kind of what we're looking at there for the next little bit. Anywhere that the bowing out is happening, I can guarantee you there's strong winds. Guarantee it, okay? So just be aware of that. Not much in the way of rotation, so we're keeping an eye on that as well. Cameron, anything from the Weather Service, either Louisville, Jackson, anybody?
Nothing, no new updates right now. We're still just tracking this line of gusty winds and maybe a little bit of broad rotation just to the north and east of downtown Campton and Wolfe County. So just a heads up, nothing, like Brendan said, overly dramatic with this storm, but still we could see possibly a few spin up tornadoes as we go through the rest of today. That's why you need to have that First Alert weather app just in case. It's not an overly huge threat of tornadoes, but a small spin up tornado cannot be ruled out as we go further on into today.
And the good thing about those, they would be very brief.
Yes.
So it might even be one scan, it touches down, the next scan, it's gone. So that's, when we said earlier this morning, and I know Evan said it last night, and we've been saying it for a few days now, this is a very low-end tornado threat. Can you rule out a tornado at all during situations like this? Absolutely not. You can't rule out a tornado, but most of the time in situations like this, it would be very, very brief if we did see one. So it may touch down in a very unpopulated area, and then when you get to a city, it's basically just strong wind. So this is something we continue to watch, and we'll continue to watch all day long. So again, we're tracking this. The whole weather team is here. About 10:40 now. We're going to hold on for a little while longer to see if this storm holds together and gets pushed a little further east. But again, we're watching this one that's going through parts of Wolfe County because no storm reports. So that's good news. Yeah, so going through parts of Wolfe County because there is a tornado possible tag on it until 11. If they let that expire, they cancel early, we'll end our coverage.
And it looks like they just did.
Well,
so I've got the Weather Service chat up here.
They heard me.
Yeah. They've got the warning that is for Breathitt. Yes, that is the correct warning. They say the storm has weakened below severe limits and no longer poses an immediate threat to life or property. So that will expire at 10:45.
Okay, so let's reset real quick before we go. Let's go back out to the broad picture real quick of the radar. So we still have quite a few storms to go. We have these storms that are in parts of the northern half of the area between I-64, Mountain Parkway, and just south. Those are going to continue their trek east throughout the day. Parts of Cumberland Valley, Kentucky River, Lower Big Sandy have not seen anything. And as I was mentioning before Evan got here, he said he saw some sunshine on his way in Perry County. That's not a good situation. Dew points in the 50s and 60s. It's air you can wear. You can kind of feel it out there, especially for early January. So that's fuel for these storms, okay? Back to the west just a little bit. We have another line that is still trying to develop out that way back toward Bowling Green. So we're not done with this system yet. And you still see all these areas down to the south of that line Cameron was just drawing there. Again, could see some severe weather. This is also moving along the I-65 corridor. That's coming east toward us. We also have another round of storms to go this afternoon. Models were showing that a little later this afternoon, so I think it might be a little bit earlier just due to the speed. Let's show you the severe thunderstorm watch one more time there. That goes until 4 o'clock this afternoon for the eastern Kentucky counties. Looks like they've already allowed some of that to expire in central Kentucky. So again, if you are along basically this polygon watch box, now again, Perry County not included, Leslie County not included, Bell County not included, but that goes until 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's basically everybody except for Mingo and Logan counties in West Virginia, Martin, over toward Floyd, down toward Perry, down toward Knott, down toward Leslie, down toward Bell, and then east. All of you all not included in this watch, at least not right now. Once that complex of storms move a little further east, we may get you included in that as well, but that's what we've got for right now. Goes until 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then tonight into tomorrow, we have winter weather potential there, but we're not expecting a whole lot for most of the region. We are expecting the border counties to get included in a winter weather advisory that kicks in at 4 o'clock in the morning for basically the counties highlighted here from through Bell County, and this is the highest elevations of these counties: Bell County, Harlan County, Letcher County, Pike County, Mingo and Logan counties in West Virginia, and all 4 of our Southwest Virginia counties. That starts at 4 a.m. and goes through 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. So again, a lot of time to go here today. Cameron, Evan, any final thoughts before we toss it back?
I don't have many. I'm just looking through our Facebook chat, folks asking questions. What about my area? What about you know, if we haven't talked about your area yet in terms of the storms, then you don't have to worry just yet. But everybody's got the threat for 60-mile-per-hour winds, some small to medium-sized hail, and the potential for a brief spin-up tornado. Some folks getting it earlier than others, along and just south of the Mountain Parkway, and areas north of the Mountain Parkway for that matter, have the threat right now back toward the 75 corridor in Mount Vernon. And then we're watching another line of storms getting going across south central Kentucky. You see that orange polygon there across south central Kentucky near places like Munfordville, south of Elizabethtown. That is slowly heading in our direction as well. So we will continue to watch everything pushing to the east. But like I was saying earlier, I saw some sunshine on my way into work here over the last few minutes. Other folks seeing sunshine as well. We got a report of sunshine out of Magoffin County. That's just adding fuel to the fire as that severe thunderstorm warning does expire for now. But we have that other one, and now that one has a tornado possible tag on it as well.
Yeah, so we may just stick with that to the top of the hour because it only goes to 11 o'clock. So we'll just stick with it because, again, these systems, and we have talked about this, typically we would not be on the air for these. And I know we're on Facebook too, but we would not typically go on the air for these because if it's a summertime event, you know, you get a little bit of brief spin, you could possibly have a tornado. And they have reworked this in the last few years to add that wording onto it. But it's January. We can see that Boeing line continues going through parts of the northeastern half of the region. The Boeing line is past Campton, so now it's going from Wrigley through West Liberty, or getting ready to go through those areas, Candle City, down to the south there. Again, Cameron is drawing the tracking line on that. So Johnson County, Magoffin County, all this heading towards you, may eventually go over toward Inez at 1142. Again, this is the only warning we have is for parts of Morgan County and Magoffin County and for parts of Wolfe County. Tornado possible until 11 a.m. But again, strong winds are still a possibility. We know this system has caused damage in the past as it's moved across the state, so we're going to stick with it for just a little while longer. Let's go back to velocity for just a second and kind of see what's going on there. We'll put those times back up in a minute. I don't see anything. There's a couple of little notches here, and Cameron and Evan, chime in anytime if you disagree, but right here maybe near the Valeria community, just west of Hazel Green. I mean, it's very broad. It's not well defined at all. So we're just kind of watching those right now at this point.
Yeah, nothing too well defined. And again, that's kind of what we expected with these storms today. Nothing that's going to jump out and kind of that looks like a A well-defined tornado couplet,
Right.
but still, those small spin-up tornadoes, they can be dangerous, and that's kind of what we're dealing with today. But nothing confirmed right now, but we could see possibly some strong gusty winds as that storm pushes through portions of Wolfe County into southern Morgan County, also into portions of Magoffin County as well. So we're watching that very closely as that pushes through. You could see some gusty winds. You could see some strong winds in West Liberty. If you're driving along US 460 down towards Magoffin County, you could see some gusty winds. Really shouldn't be driving right now along the Mountain Parkway because you don't want to be driving in a severe thunderstorm. That's not a good place to be. So you could see some strong gusty winds, maybe some small hail. Nothing right now, though, that jumps out to me that there could be a confirmed tornado with this storm.
Exactly. Evan, anything on radar scope or anything that you're looking at?
I've been looking at radar scope, and it's the rotation in that storm very broad, and I think part of it too is we're getting into that kind of zone in relation to the Jackson radar where we're kind of switching directions a little bit, if you will, at this point. But nothing that jumps out to me. Doesn't mean on the leading edge we couldn't get a real quick spin that could do some damage, gust-nados as we call them. But so far, we haven't heard of any reports of damage at this point, which is good news.
In Eastern Kentucky.
In Eastern Kentucky, that's true, yes. We had some damage out to the west, reports of damage from Mercer County, Kentucky, if you know where Harrodsburg is out there. We had reports of damage west of Bowling Green. We had damage west of Louisville. So these storms have a history. It's been so far so good in Eastern Kentucky this morning. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way as we head through the rest of this afternoon.
So we're going to continue just for a little while longer, and if we don't see anything that stands out to us, we'll probably toss it back there because, of course, we've got CBS programming at the top of the hour there. And if they don't let this warning go any further, which I think at this point, my gut is that the Weather Service, where it's very broad rotation, will just switch over to severe thunderstorm warnings, which we can cover on social media and on Facebook if we need to. But no confirmed damage reports, so that's some good news. We're continuing to watch all of these cells move through, and again, lots of action still to go today. That severe thunderstorm watch goes until 4 o'clock this afternoon for a lot of counties. They've started canceling it back up toward the Louisville and Lexington metros this morning. Lexington's still in it, I believe, for the moment, but most of these storms have moved past central Kentucky and now moving their way into eastern and southern Kentucky. And now also, don't forget that Wayne County, Boyd County, Lawrence County, I believe Cabell County over in West Virginia also included in this watch. So that goes to 4 o'clock, and it almost goes to Kanawha County over toward Charleston. So again, we're very close on that one. So we're going to continue to watch this. So if you're along the I-64 corridor, the Mountain Parkway corridor, the Hal Rogers Parkway corridor, back down into southern Kentucky, we are not done. But this one morning we're focused on for just a couple more minutes. We're going to continue to watch this, and we may again wrap up our coverage because we're not seeing any significant rotation. We're not seeing any damage reports. But if you are in West Liberty, you are included in this severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag until 11 a.m. this morning. If you are in Wolfe County, basically to the east of Campton at this point, you are in this severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag on until 11. And if you are in the northern or northwestern parts of Magoffin County, does not include Sayersville, you are also under this severe thunderstorm warning until 11 o'clock. Now, here we will be back. We'll be here basically all day, but we'll be back with more if we need to get back on the air, need to get back on Facebook. But for right now, let's go ahead and get back to regular programming, and we will give you updates as needed on air, online, and on the First Alert Weather app.